All right, hello and welcome to Swing It and Ding It, an iHeartMedia podcast. Harry Mays, an evening recorded podcast, is
Yes.
brought to you by Basil Hayden's. It's
Beautiful.
always nice to get things started on the evening record. Feels like a little bit more relaxed.
It is. It
My
is.
voice is lower in the morning. I like that. I get
And there's no
compliments on that.
landscapers,
Th- This is true.
blowing leaves.
This is true. This is true. But Harry Mays, we're going to get down to the business. You know what I'm saying? Which is, my background, sponsorship, sales. It's what I gravitate towards and we talk about a lot. But if we have someone who knows a little bit more than that and digs in a little bit deeper, Jared Doefler is joining us from Perfect Putt. Great follow. Make sure you're following at Read Perfect Putt and at Doefler. Jared, welcome to Swing and Ding It, man.
Thank you. Excited to be here tonight with you boys.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've talked a little football before we got on, but we'll stick to golf as far as this goes. Jared, talk to us about the genesis of this. Like what was what caused you to say, you know what, I'm going for this. I'm going to launch this thing and really dig in.
Yeah, it was purely by accident. I was finishing up an MBA program and had an elective to burn. And so I said entrepreneurship and innovation sounds cool. The instructor was really, really big on writing online. And I'm not kidding. I barely passed freshman English in college. So it's probably not a good idea for me to write. But he said a couple of things that really stuck with me. He's like, if you have a weekly newsletter, for example, and you tell people when you're going to publish it, you got to hold yourself accountable and be disciplined. And then he said, it's very good for criticism. You're going to get criticism from people that you don't know. And so I'm like, I'm kind of open to both of those things. I mean, it sounded like an interesting challenge. And then next thing was, all right, like, what do we write about? Well, I love golf and I generally love business. So I'm like, let's just marry the two together and see if we can have some fun and write for 6 months or so. And I'm still having fun doing it. And we're going to keep running with it. So it's purely by accident, not a journalist at all. Never taken a journalism class in my life, not a media guy, just somebody that loves golf and business.
Well, I've been on your distribution list for quite some time, probably about a year now.
Nice.
And I love it. I read it each and every week, and I've never given you a meh as a response to what I thought about an article. So, I'm into it, and I just want to go back to prior to business. Like, tell us how you got into golf and what is your relationship with the game of golf prior to the newsletter?
Yeah, like most people, it's it's kind of a paternal game. So I grew up playing with my dad and my grandfather, and my dream was to play Division I golf, and I didn't quite fulfill that until I got really lucky, and then I ended up transferring to a small Division I school in northern Iowa. Weren't very good, but I had a preferred walk-on spot, and we weren't a great team, and I didn't necessarily have a great college career. Played plenty, but what that did for me in my life was I'll never forget it. It gave me a good jump start to life for a lot of different reasons. So former college hack, and I try to beat the ball around a little bit right now. Got back into the game probably about 3-4 years ago. I'm 34, so I was burnt out for about 8 years, I suppose. But I really enjoy the game again, and I like the competitive juices flowing. It's a lot of fun.
He called himself a college hack, Moose. Did you hear that? I caught that. I don't know if you.
Yeah. So Jared, I mean, the Ryder Cup conversation continues. I feel like every episode has been about that since, but it was interesting because the money topic came up this year a little bit stronger than we've heard, and obviously the whole Cantlay situation just exploded. What are your thoughts on the money in the Ryder Cup? And I'll just kind of preface it by saying, we talked about it last week, and my opinion is like, there's a lot of money being made, right? It's like, you can't be mad at the talent who are the ones performing for maybe wanting a piece of that, right? And it's like, where the hell is all this money going that they're making? It's certainly not free to get there or buy any merchandise.
Right on. I guess we can take it two different ways. I'll just start with my opinion on players, and my opinion is pretty much meaningless, but I'll just give you my thoughts on players being paid. I could care less. If guys get paid, that's great. It doesn't bother me really at all. I don't want it to become this spectacle where it's like $10 million a guy. You know, I think that
Right.
that's kind of outrageous. I mean, guys do get paid indirectly, though. I mean,
Mhm.
and I wrote about this. Is there was a few performance bonuses from sponsors. A few guys got paid a little over $100,000 for making the team as automatic qualifiers. And also, I mean, they have the charity initiative, which I imagine is some sort of taxable write-off. And then thirdly, I talked to an agent. I was like, where would you rank the Ryder Cup if one of your players was playing? And he's like, it's not like winning a major, but it's a pretty good negotiation tactic. So, they'll make money indirectly from it. Now, I mean, the Ryder Cup is a business. I mean, it's once every 2 years. It is a big business. If it wasn't for the Ryder Cup, the DP World Tour would not make money. I mean, they wouldn't be afloat, so it's very beneficial for them. And then the PGA of America, Seth Wall was quoted as saying that we run a break even, and the Ryder Cup's a big part of that. So I'm sure that there's a way that if they wanted to funnel some funds to players, they could. I don't care. I'm not strong for it or strongly against it. It's just I'm really indifferent.
Yeah, but when you look at looking at your newsletter, I mean, the years where there's Ryder Cup years versus non-Ryder Cup years, the PGA of America, their earnings are just like through the roof.
Yep.
What was it, 192 million back in 2021, I believe, versus the year before 118 million, which was a non-Ryder Cup year. So, like Moose said, there's a ton of money being made. And it's like a $200,000, donation to a charity is a nice, piece, but it's sort of like way back when with David Duval, first started to raise this stuff in the late 90s, early 2000s. Like, hey, these guys, Mickelson's not the only one. These guys know, they know where the money goes. And they know there's been a lot of money made on their backs. It's sort of like college athletes in football and basketball. We were talking about, some college stuff before the show. They realize that they're being used to make a ton of money for various entities, and they want a piece. And I really don't have a problem with it, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't like the bitching and moaning during the event and things coming out like came out about Cantlay saying there's a fracture in the locker room and all that kind of stuff, because that distracts you from the golf. But I'm firmly okay with these guys getting a piece of the action.
Yeah, and I can see how you feel that way. And again, I'm relatively indifferent on it. And you mentioned Duval, right? And he rallied like Tiger and Phil and a few other guys in the late 90s, and they were threatening to boycott. Like, if that would have happened today, golf Twitter would have got lit on fire.
Oh.
And I mean, we got to look at things in perspective a little bit. I don't know Jamie Weir. From what I've heard, he does an okay job from reporting. I don't know if we can swear on this show, so I won't. But that tweet that he put out was, I think, one of the worst tweets I've ever read in my life. And maybe parts of it are true, but to say there was a fracture in the locker room, that's what got me.
Yeah.
Clearly there wasn't. And I mean, we want to talk about other things in the Red Cup that could have gone differently, sure. But to put that out in the middle of a round, it's almost, maybe this is my take. I don't know if you guys remember when Andrew Luck retired. It broke in the middle of a game, right? I don't think the magnitude maybe was that big for Cantlay in the tweet, but in the golf world, it seemed like it. And I thought it was, I just didn't agree with it, from the sense of, that's not how I would have gone about something like that. And by the way, I'm like, who cares if Cantlay wants to get paid? I mean,
right.
Say there's a fracture in the locker room, I think is a pretty gross accusation.
Well, he's a buddy of McIlroy apparently too. So there was a little bit of that side. And then, like you say, like, it spreads like wildfire through social media, through the crowd watching the event live. So immediately it turns everybody, all the Euro fans on Cantlay, which became another circus, which, the 18th green scene. I mean,
I honestly thought that was awesome. Like, I thought, like, from what I understand, the Euro fans are pretty good. And then, the American fans, we say plenty of things to the Ryder Cup as well. But I mean, I love the fact that they were waving their hats. I thought that was fantastic. I think that's part of the Ryder Cup. I think that there's some gamesmanship going on there. But I really, what Cantlay did the last 3 holes, like, an amateur golfer we would have melted in a puddle. I don't know if we realize how mentally tough that guy was to finish like that. Not many guys on the planet can do that. And that was pretty cool. That's my really big takeaway was how he came out and finished.
It's
And
Patty Ice, baby.
yeah, it was impressive.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Now you talked about a little bit about some of the bonuses. We understand that Koepka got a pretty sizable bonus from Liv for making the Ryder Cup. Some news today coming out that the Liv Tour, as it stands right now, will not qualify for official World Golf Ranking points. Now we don't really know what this is going to become, right? Things have changed, but before that, when you saw this thing and the team model, right, and that's something that I kind of really focused on because it obviously seemed like a focus of the Live Tour. Did you see a picture, a way that they were truly going to monetize that, like F1 teams? Or do you still see that as a potential big earning?
No chance. And I'm kind of tired of reading about it and writing about it because it's so divisive within the golf community. And I just can't stand the negativity. So I tend to stay away from it. I wrote 2 years ago about the Premier Golf League. It was like one of my first newsletter pieces. And they've done a really good job of like detailing their business plan. And I haven't checked recently, but I bet their site's still up. And then so Liv pops up, about 6 months later. And, we're just reviewing everything and trying to back it out to like reverse engineer how they're going to make this work from a financial standpoint. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. And a lot of the rumors about, hey, Adidas is going to buy XYZ team for X amount of money. We haven't seen any of that come true. I think it's an interesting concept. I think it's interesting. Let's put it like that. I'm not a huge no cut and 54 holes. Call me just old, I guess, than a traditionalist. Go ahead.
+1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's not like I dislike any of those people that went to Live. Like I really don't. But from just a pure business standpoint, they've dumped billions of dollars into this thing. I don't know how they ever get that money back. And who knows what the future holds if this thing keeps getting extended from like just a business sense, then the likelihood of it actually getting signed becomes, less and less each day. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen, but I remember when this thing broke and Yasser said on CNBC that we would have, something within a few weeks. Now, I don't think he meant signed agreement, but they would have great progress. And then Jay had his health issues, so that probably backtracked a few things, or delayed them. But December 31st is what they're saying now. And I'll be surprised if it's done then. Especially with sounds like some other investors are coming to the table.
You don't think they're going to make up the money with Smash T-shirts?
Oh man, yeah, that was a
Epic troll.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah,
again, people are melting over that stuff.
Yeah,
that was great.
Oh, that was tremendous. Well, now just to clarify, though, they do get paid to play in the President's Cup, correct?
I don't think they do. Okay, so I didn't look into it.
Okay.
What I did see that tweet. And then somebody else that was pretty reputable, I can't remember who it was, so I can't credit them, but said that they don't get paid in the President's Cup. And it's a similar thing. Now, I could be wrong. I didn't look into it. But from everything that I gathered is that they're not paid either.
And there's no tradition there. I would have thought, like when I saw that tweet, I'm thinking, well, that makes sense because there's no tradition. You're trying to get these guys to play an extra week, for their country, but it's really, there's no tradition involved with it. So we got to give them a little, little change in the pocket. And, but you don't know that that's true.
I just looked it up and on the frequently asked questions of the President's Cup, it's there. And players are not paid for their participation. Each competitor allocates an equal portion of the funds generated to charities of his choice.
So it's sort of a similar setup.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well,
Wow.
I think this is going to change. I really do.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about change in your pocket and interesting information that you put out, Jared. The third highest earning athlete of all time you've recently put out, and it blew me away. Right? It's Arnold Palmer.
Yeah.
It's MJ and Tiger. Right? I think you had said that in the Canadian Open he made $2,400 in 1955. So this did not come from his golf earnings, but what he's done with the Golf Channel, with the Arizona Iced Tea, his family, his legacy, just an unbelievable what he has been able to amass and continues to through his legacy.
Mm-hmm. It's very crazy when you see the inflation adjusted numbers, and what a business guy. IMG was obviously a huge part of that, and IMG is still very successful today with the agency. And I mean, the guy learned how to fly, and
Yeah.
I mean, not just talking like a small Cessna. I mean, he was flying a jet, and just a really fascinating character. But 3 of the top 5, according to Sportico, highest earners of all time are golfers. I think that says a lot of cool things about the sport and how marketable these guys are off the golf course.
Is there a guy today that maybe has yet to win a major? But we talk about, the golf media tries to make superstars out of all these guys, before they really do anything. And that's just the way it works. But is there a guy that maybe they're talking about, like, I don't know, Max Homa, somebody like that, where you could see, 5, 10, 15 years from now being a guy that maybe he's, doesn't have 10 majors, but he's a brand like phenom?
Oh, Ricky.
Yeah. Okay.
Ricky's already, I mean, he's
already there, kind of, right?
Yeah. Which is kind of unfair. I mean, he's 33, 34 years old. So if you're looking for somebody younger, boy, I don't know, but Ricky will be fine in life.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What
about Hovland? Like, could you see Hovland? Because I think he's going to win 5, 6 majors. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
And in Europe and things, I could see that guy being just a beast as far as a brand.
Yes. I agree with that. It takes a little bit of the player, right? But it appears that he's not afraid of the spotlight a little bit. And he seems very genuine and authentic, which is hard to find these days. So, I mean, I could definitely see that. I mean, if you want to talk about, my take is Rory will be the richest golfer of all time when I'm 80, he'll be the richest golfer of all time at that point, in 50 years from now or whatever. And I mean, what he does off the course from a business standpoint is pretty incredible. And there's other guys like that too, but Rory and Tiger really are kind of leading the way. But Rory's invested in several companies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, it's funny because we know the golf business, right? The traditional golf business, but there's been so much in the past couple of years in the ancillary golf business side, whether it is Top Golf, X Golf, now this TGL league with the ESPN deal, T Squared. Now they're talking about is opening up in St. Andrews. Like it is just an explosion of golf related business over the past couple of years. And I mean, I would assume COVID had something to do with that too, but what are your thoughts on just the mushroom cloud of golf business that has happened over the past couple of years?
I love it. I think it's great. I was lucky when I started writing my newsletter is I kind of I didn't know. I mean, I don't think anyone knew how crazy golf was going to be. And I kind of just timed it just by pure luck, but I love golf entertainment. I think it's great to introduce people to the game of golf. Top Golf says that they, introduce like 10% the new golfers are basically 10% of what Top Golf's number is. So I don't know if I said that exactly correctly, but a substantial part of people that play golf at Top Golf for the first time then transition to green grass golf.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I believe their number was 10%. Maybe I should have said that better. Nonetheless, like you look at like Putt Check and Puttery and all these, and T Squared is a take, of similar to 5-iron, but kind of in a more historic building, I suppose. And I love it. I think it's great for the game of golf. A traditional golfer may not like Top Golf, and that's perfectly okay. Whenever I tweet about Top Golf or I post something about Callaway and Top Golf, I always have people that respond to me or send me emails back to tell me how bad of a business Callaway Golf is and their stock price is down, whatever. And I said, hey, I totally understand that. But what we're looking at is we're looking at growing the game of golf and getting more people onto the golf course, making it more accessible. And I think Top Golf, it does that. I mean, and by the way, Top Golf's grown for 7 straight quarters. It's not like it's just a dud of a business.
Right? Oh, yeah.
Well, being the Callaway stock is down, is there a stock maybe that you could say, hey, I'm looking out for this in the next 12 to 18 months where it might be a buy?
So there's only like 4 real stocks that you can buy in the golf space. So Acushnet, Callaway Top Golf, Drive Shack, and the new one, Saks Parente. Have you guys heard of Saks Parente?
I have not.
Okay. Golf Digest did an awesome job on this, on like an investigative reporting piece on this. I saw something that they went public and I tweeted about it, and I dove into their financials, which seemed a little more difficult to find since they were public at the time. And don't quote me on the exact numbers because I'm trying to remember, but they did something like $200,000 in revenue last year. They're a putter company. They make putters.
Okay.
And they went public, and it didn't make a whole lot of sense. Their valuation shot up to about $90 million on their IPO day. And Golf Digest, it was strange. It just strange. And I've talked to some people in the space who are a lot smarter than me with public companies, and they just said, look, it looks kind of silly. Not saying anything's illegal going on, but it looks kind of silly. And then Golf Digest came out and refuted a few things in there, and Saks Parente's kind of report saying that they had a golf shaft facility in St. Joseph, Missouri. Golf Digest reached out to St. Joseph, Missouri, the economic development people, and they're like, we've never heard of this company.
Whoa.
I don't know, really. You asked for a buy. I would. Acushnet always does well. They seem maybe more, air quotes, boring, because they're not necessarily as sexy as Callaway, with Callaway buying Topgolf and then investing in 5-iron and then investing in Linkstow. And but Acushnet they perform over and over again, and their golf ball market share is so huge. They're $700 million a year in golf balls. So I would be, looking kind of there, but I'll be keeping my eye on TaylorMade. I would. This is just me. I don't have any inside information on this whatsoever. I would assume that they're probably going to go public in the next few years because they have investment money, South Korean, I believe, an investment money that purchased them some years ago, and it'd be a good time to probably recoup that investment as long as the market looks good.
Wow.
Tremendous.
Well, and speaking of golf balls, with that Launch Technologies fire, I mean, do you suggest we go out and load up on Callaway? If we play Callaways, do we just hoard them now, or could the supply chain be screwed?
It's really too bad, and I kind of hesitated writing that piece because people died.
I know.
It's very.
I'm not making light of that.
Yeah,
right?
I know you're not. It's just sad from many different ways because people died. They have 600 employees. What are they going to do for 6 to 12 months while they try to rebuild their factory? And then you have smaller direct to consumer brands that I'm not going to say they're not going to make it, but they're going to be hurting huge through this. And it's just a sad deal. I mean, it's shocking that that they had 20% of the global golf supply, and
Wow.
That is not great for the industry that they had golf balls, 1/5 of the world's golf balls made in one location.
Yeah.
Taiwan.
And it's still under investigation, right? The cause, right?
It is. And I was looking it up over the weekend just to make sure nothing new came out, but it appears that they had some chemicals, that about 3,000 tons of chemicals that they were storing in their facility when they're only permitted to store, I believe, 100. And they had to be stored off site in a separate warehouse, and they weren't. So they had been fined before, I believe once or twice for, I don't know, similar violations. But they were fined $75,000 for this finding, and just a really, really tough deal. I mean, Callaway will be fine, right? Because they own part of their supply chain. Again, it's like the people like Seed and Penfold and Encore, and like, you may not play their golf ball, but I mean, that's a brand out there that they're trying to make a buck, just like, we are. And it's just kind of unfortunate in a lot of different areas.
Wow. So Jared, we'll kind of close it out with you on this. Just want to get your take on, if you bust out your crystal ball, what happens with the whole Live PGA Tour merger? Where in a year from now, where are things going to stand in your mind?
It's a great question, and I bet Jay and Yasser don't even know the answer to this. That's what I'll start with. This is my take, and it's hot. So I don't think the deal gets done. I don't think it gets done. I may be completely wrong, and that's fine. I'll own that. I don't think the deal gets done. I think other equity groups, private equity groups, investment money is going to come in from elsewhere, and they'll compete against each other once again. And I think that's ultimately what's going to happen.
Wow.
But again, if that doesn't happen, then Liv has not announced their 2024 schedule yet, correct?
I haven't
I
seen
don't
it,
think
no.
so.
Yeah, and it's it's almost mid-October.
Right.
I don't know. But that's my take. I don't think the deal gets done, and I think other people come in and they allow the PGA Tour to be to have a little bit more capital to go and compete.
Wow.
Interesting. Hot take, Harry Mays, coming at you.
No,
I like it.
I like it. Love it.
Yeah,
Great
I
stuff,
mean,
Jared.
when you look at the global picture right now of what's going on in the world, who the hell knows what's going to happen with some of these places? It's just wild right now. But we appreciate the time. Make sure you're following on Twitter at Doefler Jared, at Read Perfect Putt. Check out the newsletter, subscribe. Great stuff, man. And finally got you on happy, and we'll make sure we do it again soon.
Right on. I appreciate it. Yeah, be happy to come on again. Thanks, boys.
Sounds good. Thanks. We'll take a quick break and be right back. All right, welcome back to Swing It and Ding It. Great to have Jared on here.
Yeah, I mean, I look forward to that newsletter each and every week. He's got some really good stuff on there. He does a lot of data, a lot of graphs. If you're into numbers and things
very
like
clean look,
a little bit minutia, but I like all that stuff. It's interesting stuff.
No doubt about it. So Harry, the Sanderson Farms. How about that? The finish. Luke List wins it after a 5-man playoff. He hits a 43-foot putt.
Yeah.
You had the Ben Griffin miss, which was rough. Scott Stallings, Henrik Norlander that didn't make their birdie putts. But List gets his second win. He started 4 back from Ben Griffin on Sunday. So pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was really impressive. His second win, he won down in San Diego a year or two ago, and it's nice to see guys, get that first one, then they back it up with another one. It's just like, just a little bit of depth. The tour now he's in the Masters again, and and all these these elevated events and things for next year. So a great thing for him. But yeah, you talk about Ben Griffin, a final round 74. We've been talking about him for about a year now on this podcast. Okay, his name comes up quite a bit when we're giving out picks at some of these events, and he just couldn't close it out in regulation. Goes to the playoff, and you got Oberg in there, who's just seems to be where even a week after the Ryder Cup, he just comes in there and ho hum, I'm in a playoff, to win the event. And it was an interesting thing. I'm watching him as he was watching List hit his putt. Because they're all of them right there on the green. They got their caddies there on the green. There's all these people on the green. And Oberg's just sitting there with like his hands underneath his chin, just sort of watching this putt. And I know, we've seen this. That's going in. Like he knew that was going in. And he just had this nothing response. Not like way to go, nothing or darn. He's just, okay. Yeah, he won. Cool. It's over. But that guy, that showed me a lot about that guy. And, great stuff for List. It was an unbelievable putt. Scott Stallings, who I liked, and you and I both liked, I believe, last week. Yeah. That was one of our plays. I had him in a top 20 at plus 400. So that was easy money. Hoagie was top 20 at plus 230. And my guy, Hubbard, top 20 at plus 210. So we did well last week. And we did get some drama. Norlander, I thought for a while there was going to be able to do it. Then he bogeyed 14 and 16.
Yeah, I had him in the top 5 too.
Yeah, you did. We did well as a show on this tournament. We're off to a great start on Swing It and Ding It in the new tournament.
Look at us.
The FedEx Fall. I mean, last year I couldn't pick a winner if there was 2 guys in the tournament.
Good for us.
Yes, good for exactly. Us. But it was fun. It was drama, and I like that golf course. It looked like a place where I'd like to play.
Yeah, definitely does. Did you see a lot of the Corn Ferry Tour promotion stuff? I love checking that out, seeing guys celebrate on the 18th and
I
all
did
that good stuff.
I did. And Barjan, was a guy who's now got his card back, and I followed him with Brandon last year at the
Okay.
Wells Fargo. He was in Brandon's group along with Kitayama. That was the group he
That's
was
right.
in on
That's
that
right. That's
Thursday,
right.
Friday. So
Yeah.
Paul Barjon played at TCU, and he's going to be back on the PGA Tour. And it's just that is a really cool thing to see these guys where we talk about life-changing moments, a lot on this podcast, and that's to come back to the PGA Tour. You lose your card, then you get it back, and you get this opportunity again. So that was pretty cool. But I noticed some reaction to Luke List holding the trophy, trophy we talk a lot about with the big rooster.
Yep.
And apparently Luke List had his hand on the undercarriage of the rooster. And our guy Bill Moore pointed this out to X Twitter, saying that he's uncomfortable with the way Luke List was holding the rooster. So and it made me a little uncomfortable too.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a good way to hold that thing. And now that you think
I think
about
by the base.
you got to go by the base.
You just gotta go by the base.
Yeah.
You don't grab it by the neck.
No.
by the feet.
Your options are limited.
Limited options. But he had it sort of underneath the undercarriage, which was kind of an uncomfortable spot.
It's not a chicken. There's
for the rooster too. I mean,
Yeah. All right. We'll talk to Luke about that. We'll see. Or next year's winner, we'll make sure that we handle that the right. Maybe a handle. Maybe you should put a handle on it.
Right.
We'll see. We'll see about that. But now we go to Vegas, Harry Mays. I mean, who doesn't like going to Vegas? The Shriners Children's Open, right?
Yep. TPC Summerlin.
Let's start it out. Let's do the course, of course. What do you know about this place?
Well, it's a Bobby Weed design. Bobby Weed is legendary. Did the Jordan course down in Florida and many others. A Pete Dye disciple. 7,255 yard par 71. There's lots of raw desert landscape with this. Every hole is sort of by itself. It winds through. There's like a development out there, out near the Strip of Vegas, and it goes through canyons and arroyos. There's plenty of water features, especially on the final closing holes. There's water on, I believe, the final 3 closing holes. Bent grass greens. The 72-hole record is 24 under par, and that's by Ryan Moore, Webb Simpson, Sung Jae Im, and last year's winner, Tom Kim, who returns to defend this year. The 18-hole record is 11 under par, a 60 by Patrick Cantlay last year, who lost out, I believe, in a playoff by hooking a shot or missing the playoff. I know he hooked a shot on his final hole and it was very Patrick Cantlay-like, but he was very close to winning last year, shot 60. Rod Pampling and J.J. Henry also shot 60 years ago. There's only 3 par 5s. The closing stretch, you got a short par 4 15th, kind of a dog leg, par 5 16th with water, par 3 17th with water, and the par 4 18th with water left. So a little bit of drama will be assured with this closing stretch.
How about Lexi Thompson in the field?
Yes,
love it.
It's pretty cool. I mean, she's the 7th woman that is participating on the PGA Tour. You go back to Babe Didrikson Zaharias did it way back in 1945. She actually made the cut in 1945 and participated several times in PGA Tour events back in the day. Shirley Spork also made the cut at the Reno Open in 1952. Annika Sorenstam back in 2003 at the Colonial missed the cut. Susie Whaley up in Hartford in 2003 missed the cut. And Michelle Wee West was an 8-time participant, never made the cut. And then most recently, Brittany Lincecum missed the cut, I think, a year or 2 ago. And I apologize, I forget the event. But this is the 7th different woman to participate in a PGA Tour event, and everybody loves Lexi. She got a lot of fans, and she's going to bring a lot of eyeballs to the TV that normally wouldn't be there, and maybe people that'll go out there, young girls will go out there with their moms and dads and see her, and that's the way you grow the game.
Yep, no doubt about it. So you talked about Tom Kim. You had Sunjay has won here. Maybe this is Siwoo's turn. He sits at 2,200. Maybe going to keep it in the family. Tom Kim sits at 1,100. Aubert at plus 1,200. Cam Davis, who I actually like, but as we see the line here, I like a couple of Adams Harry. And here's why. 8 of the 12 winners finished T6 or better the prior year. Okay. And 9 of 13 had a T11 or better in one of their last 5 starts. So when you look at Adam Hadwin, he was a T4 in 2020. He's been T10 or better in 3 of his last 4. So you got to keep an eye on him. And the other one, Adam Schenk, top 5 in 21. He's been top 20 in 4 of 6. So horses for courses. These guys play it well. And then the other one that just keeps, I can't get past it is Eric Cole at plus 3,500. I just look at him and see him as somebody who could shine here.
Yeah. I like the Adam angle.
Yeah,
that's good. And plus Adam Hadwin's wife is great on Twitter. You know, it's
fantastic.
Just worth it to follow him. But yeah, I'm with you on Eric Cole plus 3,500 to win. You know, he's a fan favorite of this podcast, but Tom Hoagie too. I'm on at plus 150 in a top 20. And then I took a bunch of matchups. I took Siwoo minus 110 over your guy, Cam Davis. I'm thinking Siwoo now is relaxed because he knows he doesn't have to go into military service. And now he can just unwind and just let it go out in Las Vegas. Aaron Rye minus 110 over Patrick Rogers. Svensson over Herbert at minus 120. And Obear plus 100 over Tom Kim. I'm a big Obear fan.
Oh, yeah.
This could be an easy win for him, actually.
It really could be. He's going to hit that ball really far in that altitude, too. Man.
Yes.
Yeah, he really is.
Effortless swing.
How about your boy Fitzy?
Yeah, with
Dunhill Links. I mean, it's a shame with all the rain they had over there. Wins the Pro-Am with his mom, too, which was
cool.
Pretty cool. Finishes at 54 holes. Did you see Ryan Fox with the mid-round dog spilling mustard on himself?
I did. He got it all over his fleece, and then
so relatable.
Yeah, it was great. He's got all that mustard on it and stuff, and he's walking down the fairway just eating the dog, just like any of us would. I love that guy.
Yeah, that was tremendous. You don't usually see a mid-round dog. You know, you got John Rahm's wife making him sandwiches, or you'll see an Uncrustable or a protein bar or protein shake, but just a straight up
dog
dog at the turn.
It's like he's at the ballpark.
Was that a Jaws dog? It looked like it might have been a Jaws dog.
It was a pretty hefty one. I mean, it was like a 1/4-pound Wawa dog, which I believe they get the Hatfield product still at Wawa. But yeah, that was cool, and it was great to see Kings Barnes. You don't get to see that golf course much on television. Carnoustie, of course, which is part of the rotation, and then the old course, but it got shortened because of just better. And you know, the weather has to be atrocious over there if they're calling golf.
Oh God, yeah. Unplayable. So how about some personal golf? I'm finally playing Union League National this week. I am excited.
You're gonna love it.
I haven't been this excited to play a golf course in quite some time. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I was out there with Harry Donahue.
We have our event at Lulu on Friday in honor of our boy Talarita with his family and friends. So looking forward to that. Lulu's always a blast, and we have a great group of guys going out. So really looking forward to that. How about you?
Absolutely. Well, we had a weekend, the wife's birthday celebration, which involved a lot of golf and some great seafood down at Doc's Oyster House. But we had a great round at Seaview on Sunday. The weather was a little bit better than it was on Saturday. Saturday's weather was atrocious, and it blew through. I'm sure you experienced it too. The Vineyard National at Renault was severely affected by the weather, but Sunday got a little bit better. It was still blustery and windy and a little bit cold. You know, it's almost like fall just said, hey, I'm here. Like, it's not even early fall. It was like kind of late October kind of weather. It was very cold, but we had a wonderful day. Great. The golf course was spectacular. And then went to Doc's Oyster House on Sunday night. Had a tremendous I didn't even watch any football on Sunday. That's how involved I was with the rest of my day, Moose. Think about that. Plus, the NFL schedule kind of sucked.
Yeah, it did.
But
you still get the points.
Exactly.
You still get the points. It's a good work out of you.
I'll be with you at Lulu on Friday. I'm actually going over there tomorrow, and then I'll be at 1912 on Thursday. So
nice. Nice little week.
It's the weekend, Saturday, Sunday again.
I know. Beautiful weather midweek, which is what we have to take advantage of. But good stuff. We'll be back. Danielle will be back with us next week. Excited to have her back, and we'll keep it rolling. That's all we can do, Harry Mays.
Is there any way to go against John Rahm in the Spanish Open? He's plus 220 to win. Have you ever seen odds like that?
Yeah, that is wild. 220.
220. Rosie's the second favorite at plus 1,400.
Jesus. Yeah, you can't touch it. Can't touch it with a 10-foot pole. I mean, those odds are just wild. 220, 1400, 2500. It's
Yeah.
like, and you couldn't pick the rest of the guys in the top 10 out of a lineup.
No.
Like, yeah. That's all. That's
Well,
all
that
for
he
John.
plays that, and he's like really motivated to play it and into it. It's like, like Billy Horschel had a big week over the European tour this past weekend.
Yeah.
It's cool to see some of these guys, going over and supporting some of those events.
Yep, no doubt about it. And Harry, we're excited. Our article in Gap magazine will be coming out soon, so keep an eye out when you see the publications get sent out and released online. We'll make sure we share it. But excited to get that out there in people's hands.
Great stuff out of Dalton Balthaser again.
Absolutely. All right, Harry. I will see you Friday, my friend, at Lulu. Everyone else will be back next week.